All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to CageZilla 53 here in Manassas Park, Virginia. Still lots of fights to come. You know, coming up here, that things that you need to look forward to is that fight coming up at the 11th bout mark with Elisa Reed and Amy Golding. Let's throw it up to Chris, and you're watching live right now on GoldSports.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for our next fight. Making its way to the cage and fighting out of the red corner, it's Elidji Cisse.
Elidji Cisse, 5'8", 163, 23 years of age, out of Method Boxing, out of Stafford MMA, with a record of 2-0. He's ranked 18th as an active amateur in the welterweight division, Jay. Now, you got a chance to go back there and talk to him.
You know, I've called a couple of Elijah's fights. He is a great kid. He's one of my favorite fighters in the state of Virginia. He's an active duty United States Marine. Recently, he was on the funeral detail for the late President Bush.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty big deal. He wants to give a shout out to the Artillery Instructor Battery. They teach people how to fire a 155 millimeter howitzer. So, you know, the cage is sort of like a day off for a kid like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a respective thing. But, you know, when you have that team organization, when you go to work with that, and then you get to come back and train with that.
Other Marines we're going to see later, Edwin Francois, another former Marine on this fight card. This is a kid in Elijah who has slept in his car to go train. Dedicated to the sport.
Who hasn't? Who hasn't, Jay? Who has? I'm a sleep in my car ramen noodles kind of guy.
Right.
I'm a catch.
And it shows. But excellent, really great young man. He was born in Senegal.
And his opponent, making his way to the cage and fighting out of the blue corner, it's Zachary Krapf.
Zach Krapf, 5'9", 164. He's 21 years of age, out of Arlington Fight Club, Alexandria, Virginia, by way of Germany, with a record of 2-1. He's ranked the 28th active amateur in the lightweight division here in Virginia, with an overall record of 12-6. You got a chance to talk to Zach also, Jay.
Immensely strong. Crazy wrestling background. He's been wrestling in Sambo since he was 5 years old. And both these two fighters, we have seen astronomical improvement between their two fights. This is an action figure matchup for me for these two, especially at this point in their careers.
You know, one of the things I saw in Zach's last fight was when he fought Will Worley, which, although it was a loss, I think he learned a lot about himself. I think we learned a lot about him as well, because that was 3 5-minute rounds against a guy who's had 10 MMA fights in addition to his Muay Thai fights. So it was a huge experience disparity, a big age disparity, and he really came out there. And I think even though it was a loss, that might have been his best fight to date.
Yeah, went the distance with a guy like Will Worley. You can't come out without being a better fighter.
And we talk about 3-minute fights. Just picture 15 minutes of exhaustion, of going as fast and as hard as you can. All right, let's throw it back up to Chris.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is scheduled for 3-minute rounds at the CageZilla Catchweight of 163 pounds. It's brought to you by Ace Party Rail. They've got you covered. Check them out at acepartycentral.com. Starting out, fighting out of the red corner, standing 5'8", weighing in at 163 pounds, fighting out of Method Boxing with a perfect 2-0 record, it's Elidji Cisse!
Cisse, 5'8", 163, 23 years of age, out of Method Boxing in Stafford, Virginia.
And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 5'9" and weighing in at 163 pounds, fighting out of Arlington Fight Club with a record of 2 wins and 1 defeat, it's Zachary Krapf!
Krapf is 5'9", 164, 21 years of age, out of the Arlington Fight Club.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 3-minute rounds in the CageZilla Catchweight of 163 pounds. Your referee is Michael Dolman.
The catchweight we're looking for is 163. Michael Dolman, the referee, is scheduled for 3-minute rounds as we get the cage all sealed up and ready to go. Go ahead, Jay.
And Krapf is a guy, he's told me he walks around probably 180, 185. He is a big cat and has cut this sort of weight before, of course, as his wrestling career. He's good at it, and it will be interesting to see how his strength tells.
Elijah standing in the middle of the cage. He's got the black gloves with the red tape. Krapf standing in the middle of on the logo there with the CageZilla in the blue gloves.
Both guys standing very close. Elijah thought about going for a takedown, but now he has to deal with the wrestling from Zach Krapf, who has double underhooks here. Switch it to an over-under.
Can't grab the cage. Both fighters, now we start to get to see a little bit more experience in these guys.
And it shows immediately, just based on the reaction speed, the quickness of the shots, the lack of telegraphing in the strikes they throw.
Right.
And all the small adjustments you see them making. The way Zach is taking his knee and using that to open up Cisse's, getting him off balance, the fight for the over-unders, the fight for now double underhooks, which Cisse has.
Good knee on the break. Trying to chop down the tree here. Krapf is just throwing those kicks. Ooh, good left hand.
I'll tell you what, though, Zach looks a lot more comfortable in there. He looks a lot more relaxed. He's moving well. Big shot landed.
Elijah might have a speed advantage. Head coach Stuart Womack, if I'm him, I probably want Elijah to keep doing what he's doing. Keep away from Krapf's power and from his wrestling.
He really does look stronger. I mean, Cisse doesn't look like he's a weak guy.
Not by any means.
But Krapf just looks like a big, stronger guy.
Big takedown. When they lock up, Krapf is really able to move him the way he wants to. I think Jay, you were spot on. Cisse needs to just keep using his range, keep his punches, use the forward progress, but don't overcommit. Don't put yourself in a position to be taken down. Big shot landed upstairs.
Good right hand.
Tom Wilson and Bao Kung. Bao Kung is gesticulating wildly in Krapf's corner. He is his Muay Thai coach.
Krapf took a couple of big shots there. You know, he was trying to chop that leg. He took a right to the left-hand side of the face.
And that worked for Worley in his fight against Krapf. Just work that leg, work that leg, work that leg through some really neat oblique kicks.
But you got to be careful when you lead with that leg kick, because not only could it get checked, it's going to be a little bit easier to get countered. And Krapf there shot, I don't want to say out of desperation, but that was a long shot.
And it looked telegraphed.
He must have felt something that he didn't like.
Yeah.
However, Cisse's holding on to this head and arm choke, and I just don't think, this arm and guillotine, and I just don't think that this is a wise use of his energy. I don't really see this being the thing that puts Krapf in a bad position.
Krapf trying to position there. He slips out. When they start getting sweaty, the holes really got to be dug in deep.
Yeah, when you get big, strong guys who have big shoulders, that arm and guillotine becomes less and less likely to finish.
5 seconds left in this fight. There we go.
Nice late round flurry for Krapf. That's a good round for both fighters.
Yeah, both fighters. And let's talk about something before we head over to the replay here. You talked about something about cutting weight, and we talk about cutting weight. Well, let's go to the replay here real quick before we talk about that. Good left from Cisse.
Yeah, more of that from Cisse to sort of stay away from this, which is right in Krapf's wheelhouse.
Well, he threw him in, landed right on top of his head here. You can see this. And, you get worried about guys' necks, but, wow, that's right on top, that compression of that spine. And just seeing that coming out with a good right. Anytime he breaks it, Cisse's throwing something. When they break, he's throwing something coming out of that. Then the cutting weight that we talked about. See, CD, we've talked about this before. Guys that cut weight, and they've done specials on that, those guys really put themselves at a disadvantage.
Well, they certainly do. However, when you have a professional like Zach, professional in terms of a guy who's done it so many times, who's done it in wrestling, they're able to mitigate those risks, and they're able to mitigate the amount of time that they stay dehydrated and that they don't have that fluid going up and protecting their brain. So when I see guys that have good camps, that have had that experience cutting weight, I'm a little bit less concerned.
Right.
It's certainly my least favorite aspect of the sport, both as a practitioner and a viewer, and as well as a coach. But I think that some guys do it much better than others. And with Zach, I think he's the type of guy who does it well.
Cisse comes out. He's in the black gloves with the red tape, throwing blows left and right. Krapf's throwing. He's got the blue gloves on. Both fighters standing toe-to-toe, standing up right here in front of us.
And great distance work out of Cisse.
Excellent.
Krapf really working those hands like we talk about. Sometimes those wrestlers, they just want to throw bombs.
Well, that was really key, Jay, what you pointed out. Good check there from Cisse. After Cisse pushes forward, big hard shot. He's landed big shots. He pushed off quite well. Now, one shot really hurt him there. That might have cut Zach. One thing he did really well was he pushed Zach away to prevent the takedown from happening. This time, he overcommitted on some of those shots. Well worth it.
Nice trip by Krapf.
And now Zach is able to take mount after that takedown.
Wow, those rights and lefts, that flurry right there, really the one left caught him, but not like the right hand. It caught Krapf, and he really shook it off, and he looked at his corner and said, I'm okay.
He did.
And I'm shocked that he's not bleeding. We'll see if something opens up. But Cisse coming through, pulling him down, and then Krapf's jumping right on top.
We learned in the Worley fight, Krapf can take a hit. There were some savage straight rights from Worley. And Krapf stayed in that cage, went the distance.
Good explosiveness from Cisse, but that's not going to be enough to get a guy like Krapf off of you. And now's a good opportunity for Zach to kind of recover here. He might have been rocked. He's got a little blood coming out of the nose, but if he takes a second, reestablishes himself, he can land some vicious ground and pound here and kind of shift the onset of the fight.
Using that chin as a weapon, too.
Cisse, I don't think, wants to be on the ground, and he's using a lot of energy trying to get Krapf off of him.
He is, but Zach's doing a great job of keeping him down. Every time he explodes, Cisse's very close to getting up, but Zach, he nullifies those last few movements necessary to create the space.
And one of the things that I saw, Cisse's really, really quick. If you just dropped your guard for a hot second, Cisse's on top of you.
Well, he moves. He's so explosive. And all these openings he's looking for, he's doing a great job of preventing the ground and pound. But now he's got to be careful.
I mean, he's blocking those.
He's blocking them, but he's not able to do
Michael Doman's going to stop it now.
Knocks Krapf's mouthpiece out from his back.
Yeah.
Something you don't see every day.
I knew that would stop him.
I think he's got a little bit advantage in the reach, Cisse does, and I think it was just illustrated quite well there.
He was able to block the shots without taking the damage, but he's got to advance his position because now we've seen here now for about a minute and a half, Zach's been in a dominant position. After losing the striking portion of the round, he might be able to take it back here with the grappling.
Both fighters laying right in the middle of the cage on the CageZilla logo. Cisse trying to exert again. This is what we see. We see the exertion, but Krapf just right on top of him.
Well, that's just not how you do it. You need to shrimp. You need to push off on the knee while you still block. You need to create the space and work your way from half guard to full guard and back up to your feet. Just trying to launch a guy like Krapf is not going to do the trick.
But not letting Krapf get comfortable.
Now he got him. Oof. Thank goodness
Great
for the bell right there because he had the range on him right there at the end. And I think that might have cut him. Let's see if he got cut. He took a left to the eye.
Eye poke or a cut, we'll see.
I couldn't tell, but man, he really took a shot. I mean, he's saying his eye hurts him. As I take a look over there, he's trying to see, like, Cisse's really trying to see what's going on with his right eye. That left hand snuck in there. Both fighters totally exhausted right now, and I can tell you that to watch these guys, here's the rights and lefts. Boom, boom, there's a good shot. And then look at these. This 3, 4, 5 shots right in a row that he just took them.
He did. Zach did a great job blocking. It looked like more of these shots got through when it happened live, but you could see the two right there that landed definitely hurt him, but he did a great job of blocking the other ones.
There's the upshot. That long left from Cisse that knocked Krapf's mouthpiece right out.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. Those two guys right now are starting to feel each other out. This round is probably going to be really exciting. Now we know how fast Cisse is. We know how strong Krapf is. And now we want to see these guys go at it. So,
and both camps are probably saying, you got to win this round to win this fight.
This is it right here. Don't leave this one up to the judges. Both fighters come out, touch hands. Cisse in the black gloves with the red tape. Krapf in the blue gloves, black shorts. Both fighters standing right on the CageZilla logo.
Big inside leg kick. Cisse really needs to keep this fight on the feet for this round.
I was just, you were reading my mind. I was getting ready to say Cisse wants to stand up this entire 3 minutes.
Well, I think in the beginning of the second round, he made an adjustment that Jay pointed out, and I think that's what we need to see here from him in this third and final round. When he gets these openings, when he lands his strikes, to push off and create the space so that he doesn't get taken down via the clinch.
Right. And we've seen Krapf, he wants to take somebody down, and we've seen him telegraph it.
Well, you got to believe Krapf's corner knows that too and was looking for the takedown.
Look at that red mark on the back of the leg of Krapf, that front leg that he's gotten caught with that front kick.
Yeah, but I almost think that if you're Cisse's corner, it's almost too late to start working the leg.
Yeah.
You know, in this point, a guy with legs the size of Zach Krapf.
The tree trunks, yeah.
Nah.
You know, it might be less trying to work them and limit his movement as opposed to just
changing levels.
Exactly, creating the opening for those higher kicks to come in and land more flush.
Cisse has a hold of the cage here. He's going to have to let go. Yeah, he keeps grabbing it. They're going to have to pull him off of this thing.
So you open that hand up.
Yeah. He keeps grabbing it. Yeah.
Good work from the ref, Mike Dolman.
Yeah, both fighters right here in front of the table, and we love how much that happens. So we need the rain guards.
Krapf's able to isolate that leg. He's going to get a takedown here.
Elijah still may be blinking, trying to blink trouble out of that eye as well.
Yeah, he's got to fight that. He's got to fight that grip. He's got to go for a double unders. He's got to do something to create space. This is not a spot where he wants to be here.
Somebody's bleeding. I don't know who it is.
Big takedown from Krapf.
I don't know if the blood is coming from Elidji, but we're covered in it right now. Everybody check your stuff. But
Good control from Krapf. Cisse's got to do something. He's flat on his back and he's against the cage. Just talking to the cameraman.
Elijah just looked over and told us how heavy.
Yeah, he said, this dude's heavy, bro.
That Zach Krapf is, and we know.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big guy.
You know, one thing Krapf's doing a really good job of is he's isolating the leg and staying in that half guard and staying active enough where he's gonna not have to be stood up. It's up to Cisse to do something, and he's in a tough position because he can't really use the cage. He's perpendicular to it.
It would be better for him to use that cage and put his back against it and stand up.
Correct. And now you're seeing him take that angle here. He's got to sit up and wall walk his way up.
Right. And those elbows are going to start raining down here with only 10 seconds left.
We have never seen any sign of either of those two fighters gassing. This was a pleasure to be able to call these two guys.
And lefts.
Great movement from both guys.
Cisse still putting up the fight.
Great fight.
Man, I don't know. That's a tough one there at the end. And that's fun to watch. He's going to be excited. I don't know. You want to throw that to the card?
You know, I think that Zach really did a great job of riding those hard shots, stealing that round, and I think winning that fight. I mean, very impressive. And he got tested well. Elijah did a great job of keeping the punches on him and staying active and fighting the entire time, even when on the bottom. But Zach did such a good job of controlling the pace of the fight and controlling where the fight took place.
Zach's got a little blood coming from the top of the bridge of his nose. And here we go. We'll see this right here. Good takedown.
That first throw.
Right off the head in round 2 as you see that rollover, a little cartwheel. And that's the one that was right before he got poked in the eye. And here comes a good right. And this is the combination here. Bang, bang. And I think those got through. He just stood there and took them.
And that's where Krapf's chin right there could have won him that fight, because he stayed in the pocket, he stayed aware, he stayed standing up, and I think that exchange from Cisse, weathering that storm from Cisse, might have won him that fight.
Yeah, and one of the things that we saw with these guys is it started to get later in the fight. Like you said, we started to see a lot of heavy mouth breathing, a lot of things that we haven't seen earlier, and then the exhaustion starts to set in. Even though it's not a 15-minute fight, it's still a long enough fight, especially the exertion that both these guys were putting out.
Well, it was such an active fight, but you know, the one thing we saw, despite them getting tired, we never saw a lack of technique or a lack of activity. They continue to perform at a very high level, and that's the difference between some of these guys who are making their debut and some of these other guys who've learned and really developed their skill over the years.
All right, Chris has the cards. Let's throw it up to him. We'll get the call right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecard for a decision. Judge 1 scores about 30-27, Judge 2 scores about 30-27, and Judge 3 scores about 29-28. All in favor of your winner by unanimous decision, out of the blue corner, Zach Krapf!
So Zach comes away a big winner tonight, just like you called it, CD. And I've got real cautious about doing that, because the last 2 times I've lost my mind, because the times that I thought it wasn't a fight, that they hadn't, I look really dumb over here. But what you saw in that was something else that I probably didn't see, and I was a little bit too close for me to say. All right, when we come back, still more to come here from CageZilla 53, right after these messages here in Manassas Park, Virginia.